I want to dig into this really quickly because we got to go over to Chicago. All right. And the reason that we need to go over to Chicago, we got to get the political stuff out of the way, and then we're going to get to the money. We're going straight to the money from the political stuff. The reason why is because there is an ICE arrest for an Illinois police officer. Now, we got to evaluate this because don't tell me that this is one of the reasons that J.B. Pritzker and Brandon Johnson is out here protecting people is because they got people within their own ranks that's not even supposed to be here. Don't tell me that y'all didn't vet legally. Now, I seen this pop up on my For You page today. I said, I got to include this. I ain't even seen the video yet.
Illinois at the center of President Trump's immigration crackdown, and one of the latest ICE arrests there might surprise you. Rajul Bajovic was working as a sworn police officer with the Hanover Park Police Department. Just one problem. He was visiting from Montenegro on a tourist visa and required to leave the United States over 10 years ago. Yet just this August, he graduated from the police academy and was given a badge and a gun. The town says he was cleared to work. Quote, all information we received from the federal government indicated that Officer Bojovic is legally authorized to work in the United States as a police officer. But now the illegal alien remains in DHS custody. Here to discuss the disturbing details more, former acting ICE director.
So let me get this straight. I just want to make sure that we all on the same page. He was visiting, supposedly, that's what he said when he came over to the United States of America. And he said, you know what? I think I'll stay. And he's lived life on a run for the last 10 years. Comfortable. Stayed over here during COVID. Probably got some free tests. Maybe even raised their kids in school. The whole 9 yards. And he very well may be a nice person. But how are you able to do this? Listen, we got all the technology in the world. I got the Infinity Stones. That's what my daughter calls them. What are the Infinity Stones? The Infinity Stones are all of the different colors. So if you go on your app, I got Delta, right? And if you go on your Delta app and you got pre-check and you got, whatever this and whatever that, if you got all of the things, like all of the little things, it's a green one, it's a blue, purple one, it's all of these things, then that's when we say you got the Infinity Stones. Because it looked like all of the different colors that Thanos had on his wrist. I can't show y'all this because y'all gonna be knowing some information y'all not supposed to be knowing. But I got all of the Infinity Stones. TSA pre-check, clear, whatever you can think of, all of those things, right? And you have to go through so much to get it. I had my identity stolen back when I was like 18, 19 years old. I've told y'all this story before also, some of you OGs. I had my identity stolen a lot of time right before. Well, it wasn't even my identity stolen. It was a person that I was raised with in the hood, and when he got arrested, he told the police, oh, I'm Anton Daniels. Because he knew that I was clean. Well, he still got arrested. They put him in there as his alias. He did his little time and he got out of prison and stuff. But that alias was still registered, right? It was still registered under him. So all of the things that I had to do all the way up until even getting my gun license, going through TSA pre-check, all of these things I had to go through extra screening to let them know, oh, that's not him. That's not Anton. So if I, as an American citizen with a license, has never been to jail, has never been to prison, I can't say ever been arrested, driving while license suspended, they got me a lot of tickets. So if I, as an American citizen, am vetted, I will tell you, it's a blessing in disguise. I actually lost a job opportunity because of that one time. Yep, I lost a job opportunity. I was going for a job, and this was during the pandemic. Not the pandemic. This was during the 2008 housing crisis, right? After I had, lost my job at the plant and stuff like that, and I was in school. And I thought that I was about to get this good job at Trinity Healthcare. And when they did the background check, they like, who is this guy? Who is this? Who is this? Whatever, so on and so forth. And I'm like, I would show it to y'all. Like, I would pull up the person and show you the person and all of this stuff. But I think they free and they probably trying to do the right thing nowadays. And I know I got a pretty significant show. So I'm not trying to throw them under the bus. Maybe they've changed their life around and moved on. I don't know. I haven't talked to them or anything like that. They was like, who is this guy? And I said, well, you can clearly see his photo and you can see that it's not me. And you can see we got a different height and we born different years. And you can clearly see that that's not me. Do you know that they was like, nah, we not going to take no chances. This was like 2009 that they actually said that they was not going to take no chances because somebody had used me as an alias. And when they did a background check, and here's the caveat to that. He was still in jail. He was still in prison. He was doing 14 years for a bunch of stuff that he wasn't supposed to do, a bunch of crimes that he committed. And he had got consecutive sentences and all of that stuff. He had to do 14 years. He was still in jail. And they was like, no, we're not going to do it. We know that you did a great interview. We know that we offered you the position. We know that you're best for the job, but we're going to go ahead and let you go. But I didn't trip. I didn't trip about it. You know why? Because I just made up in my mind that it wasn't for me. That is one of the rare instances where, because you know you are 100% in the right, that you know that, in my opinion, God is just saying that this is not for you. This is not the best position for you. This is not for you. And it turned out to be a blessing in disguise. Because what I did wind up doing and what I did get, it turned into a real blessing. So it was just motivation. It was heartbreaking at the moment because I needed a job. It was tough out here. It was 2008, 2009. And it was great to it was great to get a good job. It was great to get a job. But my point that I'm making is that the level of extensive background check that they do to make sure that you are who you are, that's why I couldn't understand, because we got better technology than we had in 2009. I couldn't understand for the life of me how the Iowa superintendent just so happened to become the Iowa superintendent when you had to go through all of these different background checks to even become a part of the public school system. How does a police officer in Illinois, get through the academy, get through all of this stuff, unless they actually made it okay and they allowed for it to happen? Because I have a hard time believing that this person was able to pass a background check without anybody knowing what's going on. Y'all seen what Tim Walz had did a while ago where they allowed for illegal migrants and they said that anybody can have a driver's license over in Minneapolis? I have a hard time believing it. No way. Somebody did something they wasn't supposed to do, or it goes all the way up to the top to the governor.
And a gun. The town says he was cleared to work. Quote, all information we received from the federal government indicated that Officer Bojovic is legally authorized to work in the United States as a police officer. But now the illegal alien remains in DHS custody. Great to have you here, Jonathan. You know, I want to also note that the town said that this individual had a work authorization card issued by the federal government.
Crazy.
Not only did he have this card from U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, the card was valid and recently renewed, and he also passed a background check. How does this happen?
How?
I'm highly skeptical of what the town is saying on this because we know in Illinois they are basically full-on pro-immigrant illegal immigrants. And remember, this is J.D. Pritzker signed a bill, I believe it was July of 2023, allowing non-citizens to be police officers. Amazingly enough, that you would have even non-citizens being police officers. But they knew this type of thing would happen. We know how Chicago, we know how Illinois treats illegal aliens, which is typically the same
better
or
than
better
regular
than
people.
American citizens. So I find it skeptical that there was any serious vetting, but it's a real problem that we would even have a system where non-citizens could be police officers. But J.D. Pritzker, again, signed this into law because they always put illegal aliens and non-citizens ahead of citizens.
You know, Jonathan, I also want to note, we've covered on this program multiple times.
I don't know how you can justify making a person that is illegally here in the United States of America, let alone somebody that wasn't born here. If you're a first generation American citizen, I'm not sure that we should allow for you to become a police officer. That sounds crazy to me. If you were not born here inside of the United States of America, how do you then become a police officer? And again, this is no disrespect to police officers that's out there getting to it and taking care of business and being on top of it. But even you becoming a citizen, it seemed like you'd have to be born here. Just like thinking out loud.
Des Moines County Superintendent, who was also here illegally. We have his picture. We'll pull it up. And while you address that matter, I also want to scroll his history of criminal conduct. You know, in this case, they said that they were deceived. They don't assert that the federal government said he could be here. But how many of these individuals do you think are working in police departments and teaching our students?
I think there are an awful lot of them, because that's also a school system which, again, was pro-illegal immigrant and doing everything they can probably to not find out, or even if they knew, they looked the other way. So I think there's a lot of them out there, and it's really shameful because, again, these jobs, one, should be for Americans, but also people that we should have good enough vetting, particularly for law enforcement, to make sure we have people legally here, and they really should be citizens. It's utter nonsense, and it's, again, people... J.D. Pritzker, other people try to blur the lines between illegal aliens and citizens all the time, and this is just another example of that.
Yeah, I want to play a clip from Pritzker. He seems to have more of a problem with American citizens like Stephen Miller than some of these illegal immigrants in his town. Let's listen to this.
The people who serve for the president, including all the way down to ICE agents, can be held accountable when there's a change of administration. Stephen Miller is clearly ordering people to break the law. So, you know, he should know that, yeah, it may be 3 years from now that he is held accountable, but make sure, I think it's important for them to know that whatever they do now, it's not like we're going to forget.
So Pritzker wants to arrest Americans now?
Yep, they want to do it. They've been wanting to do it. They tried to do it to Trump. This is not anything that's new. We've been witnessing it. We watched it. We watched the witch hunt. We've seen them empower Letitia James over in New York. And again, I want to remind people, because it's something that was not covered on the national news. Fani Willis and her flunkies down in Fulton County, Georgia, that wound up getting in trouble because she had an outside relationship and she completely fumbled the YSL case. She is recorded as going to the White House and meeting with Kamala Harris for no official business prior to filing charges against Trump in the case over in Fulton County, Georgia. And so that is a fact. That is not my opinion. That was discovered on the official logs. That is public information that shows that they actually arrived there and they actually, met with Kamala Harris.
Yeah, exactly. He's basically threatening Stephen Miller and other people if they continue doing their job, which is enforcing federal law, federal immigration law. He's going to find a way to harm them. So it really is, threatening them. Again, the people that are putting their lives on the line, these ICE agents, putting them at greater danger and threatening to arrest them for doing their job. You really can't think of many examples in American history where a governor is standing in the way of federal law being enforced to this degree. And it really shows not only a lot sort of bad things about J.D. Pritzker, but where the Democratic Party is, because he wants to be the Democratic nominee for president. So he knows he has to be so radical on this issue, but not only favoring illegal immigration at every level, but also to harm the people trying to enforce it. And it's just really staggering if you think about it. But again, what he is doing and what Brandon Johnson is doing is really skirting the line of alien harboring and other types of things.
Yep, law-abiding Americans. He wants to go after them. Thank you, Jonathan.
I remember, because I covered it, and it was actually discovered during the testimony of an ex-prosecutor. And they were saying that she had met with Kamala Harris, that Fani Willis had met with Kamala Harris before the Trump indictment. And it was also covered by the Washington Examiner, the Epoch Times. It was covered by a lot of different people. So I remember that. I remember it like it was yesterday. I made a big stink about it. Everybody acted like it didn't really happen, like it wasn't a big deal. It was a witch hunt.
In a newly released bombshell filing 2 days ago, for the first time, White House records were made public, revealing the fact that Ms. Fani Willis, the district attorney of Fulton County, was actively meeting with Kamala Harris shortly before the state of Georgia indicted President Trump. On February 28th of 2023, the meeting took place somewhere in either the side lawn or the tent of the White House, and it was a long meeting. It was about 5.5 hours long, going from 6:30 all the way up until nearly midnight. And the timing of this particular meeting is very important, which becomes quite evident when we look at a timeline of the events leading up to the actual RICO charges. All the way back in February 11th of 2021, basically about a month after the events of January 6th, Fani Willis sent letters to the governor of Georgia, as well as Georgia's Secretary of State, telling them to preserve certain documents related to a matter of high priority that her office was investigating, meaning that the investigation into President Trump began as early as February of 2021.
So, you know, y'all can go and fall for the whole Kamala Harris okie doke of her book tour and her saying, these mother effers are crazy, trying to finesse y'all and trying to convince y'all that they are part of the crew and they are part of the clique. And, you know, it's not a big deal. And I've always been for the American people. I believe that these are the dirtiest, the people that was in office over these last 16 years. I believe that they are the dirtiest people that you could ever believe in your entire life. I believe that they are the dirtiest people. I will never forget. I will never, ever, 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 ever forget. Ever. It's people that's in office here. It's people that's running for office here. It's some connections that y'all wouldn't believe. But I'm preserving that for my own self. It's some connections. The way that the money is moving in this city is almost like, what? What? The stuff, some of the stuff that I've discovered, some of the stuff that people have sent me that they so scared to say and reveal and stuff like that, I couldn't believe it. Yes, I could have. Yes, I could have. I believed it. It wasn't even a thing. I believed it. I absolutely believed it. And you won't even realize how I got it. You wouldn't believe it if I told you how I got it. You wouldn't believe how I know how some of the stuff that's moving and the money that's moving through Michigan in general is coming through. You wouldn't believe how I got it. Some of y'all could probably guess, but others of y'all probably can't. You wouldn't believe how I got it. Listen, everything that you see on the surface is all performative. That's the conclusion that I came to. Everything that's on the surface is all performative. You want to know how I got it? You want to know how I get it? Niggas be pillow talking. Every time. Listen. The fastest way to figure out what is going on is ultimately through a woman. And then when you connect with that woman is going to be like, man, you wouldn't even believe what's really happening. He said this and this person. What? What? No way. You preserve that information. You sit down for 1 second and let me talk to you for a minute. Don't say nothing. Don't say nothing. People, listen, this is why I love women. This is why I love women. Women are the greatest tools on the face of the earth. Either they could be your worst nightmare or they can be your biggest asset. And women, dudes, I don't know. It's the thuggest, want to be toughest. I'm going to be the ruggedest. All of them, they talk, they sing, they dance, they could do your prance. Every dude out here that you think is tough got a secret that's being held down from a woman.